All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right, what I want to get into this morning, dealing with the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 5. Especially going into the times that we're coming into. And we have to adjust according to the times that we're in. Because the prophecy, it deals in phases, man. In prophecy, what it does, it thrusts us into a new reality, okay? A new way, of moving, all right, due to the Lord's prophecy being fulfilled, okay? And we know we're coming to a time, with things, finna be in the crunch, you see? So we see these things happening as we see, the Lord, speeding up the time. He has all these things happening at the same time, for the sake of, ending this system, man. The Lord is finna end this system. The Lord is finna end the rulership of Esau Edom. Okay, he's finna turn America to a desert. He's finna do these things. Okay, and prophecy waits for no man. All right. So as we get deep into prophecy, man, we have to make the adjustments in our mindset and the way we move, according to what we see going on. All right. Now, when you see let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 5. It says, whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing. Okay? Now, we know we can't keep the totality of the law. Okay? But we can be obedient, all right, in the spirit to the things that's required of us in the spirit, man. And by default, we keep the law to the best of our ability. Okay? But you go into Yahweh Shai, always go into it, those two commandments. Love the Most High with all our heart, mind, and soul. And by that, we don't serve other guys. We're not in tune with other guys. We're not looking for other guys. Okay? We got everything we need within our power. And out of fear of our power, we're staying faithful to this word. We're obedient to the best of our ability, man. Everyone, when we're reading, we're watching videos, we're always taking pointers on how to get better for our power because we love our power. We want to be pleasing to our power, and that mindset is pleasing to our power, to search, all right, and to have a mindset to constantly make adjustments for his sake, to have a mindset to constantly make adjustments for his sake, man, that's pleasing to our power. Willing to sacrifice, willing to cut things off, cut back on things, whatever need to be done to get close to our power, man. The Lord is dealing with that, man. Okay? And we keep the law, of course, to the best of our ability, man. But our people that have that mindset, man, it said they shall feel no evil thing. You see? They shall feel no evil thing. You see? So the Lord already got it mapped out, in the time of tribulation for his people. It's already set up how the Lord is going to come through. Even those that have to take the death, man, even, the believers, if it's our lot to take the death, man, the Lord got that situated to where it's going to be doable, man. The Lord ain't got us in no undoable situation, man. The Lord got the elect set up to win. But it begins with our faith and obedience, man. Our daily faith and obedience, man. Okay? And when we do, which we're gonna, we're gonna fall, hey, make the adjustment. The fall ain't for us to when we stumble in this truth, when we come short, it's not to destroy us, man. It's for us to make the adjustment. And for the Lord to show us something he wants us to adjust. Make the adjustment, keep moving, get better, man. Okay, we're scribing. That's how we scribe. And it says, and a wise man's heart, all right, discern both time and judgment. Okay? A wise man's heart will both discern time and judgment, man. Okay? So now we as we're becoming wise, man, we should be able to discern what times we in, man. You see, we see the Lord is wrapping this thing up, man. Okay, this narrative with this, this energy crisis. Okay, they keep saying, about a month from now, a few weeks from now, man, things are really gonna, So we know, all right, that we at we in the transition period. All right, we're gonna see the Lord begin to do major shifts. Okay, hey, we need to be closer to our power than ever. Okay, we need things that's unnecessary, man. Hey, we need to be cutting things off, always trimming. All right, trimming away at the unnecessary, man. Scriptures talk about trimming our lamp. Being sharp in the scriptures, man. We need to be in tune with our power. Because Esau, he's on the left hand tapped in, so we should be on the right hand tapped in, man. In prayer and fasting, man. Like I said, reading, being sharp. Trimming our lamps. Going into this time, on our watch, man. We're discerning the times, man, and we see, okay, the Lord getting ready to take it there. The Lord putting everything in the position to take it there, man. Okay? So as we're seeing these things, we're discerning the times and understanding that righteous judgment is at the door. Okay? So we know we need to adjust and get in closer with our power, man. In these times, when you go here, let's get this real quick. Sirach 33:1, it says, there shall no evil happen unto him that feareth the Lord, but in temptation, even again, he will deliver him. And we have to go into this thing with confidence, with courage, man. I said one of the things I pray for, a lot is the courage, man, to execute the faith. Have the courage to execute on the faith, man, on what we believe. What we understand, what we believe. Having the courage to execute on that in the moment, in the clutch. So we're coming into times, man, where we're going to have to really be courageous in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. And know because it's written. The fact that it's written, then that's what it is, man. The Lord going to deliver the elect out of temptation, after temptation, after trial, after trial. He's doing it now. So how much more is he going to show up when we need him more than ever, man? We really have to believe our power is going to show up. Okay? It just says it's going to be tribulation like never before. The Lord finna show up like never before, man. And we got to believe that, man. We really got to believe that the Lord going to show up like never before in these times, man. So let's go here to Sirach 18. Because we see these things happening, man. Sirach 18:20 says, before judgment, examine thyself, man. Always looking inwardly, man. Always looking inwardly, man. And making those adjustments with the inward man. A lot of things that we can go through is for the Lord. The Lord wants us to look inwardly. Okay, he's always wanting us to look inwardly, man, because we're a constant work in progress until we're changed, man. So as we grow in understanding, we grow in faith, as we teach this word, as we labor, we should also be examining ourselves, because that's how we really self-develop. That's how the Spirit self-develops us, by us examining ourselves, recognizing the flaw, and making that adjustment, man. And it's a constant, ongoing process until we're changed, man. Constantly making those adjustments needed to be more pleasing to our power. You see? And it says, before judgment, all right, examine thyself, and in the day of visitation thou shalt find mercy, man. And we know the day of visitation is here. We're close. We're closer than ever, man. This is the day. This is a time, all right, going to the day, which is a time period. Okay? We're in that time that the Lord is finna open up. All right? And he gives us a little glimpse of things here and there. It's an uptick on this, uptick on mass shooting, uptick on women being judged, uptick on, the people bugging out, man. People killing their whole families, man. Just people bugging out. Okay? And it's gonna increase. You see? So as we see judgment increase, man, we should increase in the spirit, man. We should increase in obedience, increase in discipline, increase, in our labors, whatever we can do, man. We want to increase, so we want, because at the end of the day, we want mercy. We want mercy in these times, man. We need a higher power to step in these times, man. That's our only hope. Our only hope is a higher power intervening in the midst of this, man. And the Lord has promised that He will. And He's giving us instructions on what to do. All right, to stay within that promise, man. Okay, so let's go to uh let's go to 2 Peter chapter 3. All right, 2 Peter 3:10, it says, "Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, okay, what manner of person are you to be in holy conversation and godliness," man? And let's read this in the NLT. Since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, okay, which is their nuclear destruction, it's going to be melt with fervent heat, as it said in the precept before. Okay, since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, what holy, all right, and godly lives, all right, you should live, man. You know, so as we seeing everything around us gonna be destroyed, man, we should be less into these things and more into our power and what He getting ready to bring, because He's bringing the destruction, you know, but He's also bringing, all right, a reward. Oh, so lucky. You see, He's bringing the destruction, and He's also bringing the reward, man. And we want the reward, man. You know, we should be excited about what the Lord is getting ready to do for His people, man. Beginning with the remnant, those that believe now, those that are serious minded about these things now, man. So we should be constantly adjusting our life, our mindset, to be pleasing to our power more and more, man. As John the Baptist said, he must increase, but I must decrease, man. So our personal ambitions and wants and desires and little things that we can be into, man, those things decrease, and what Yahweh Shah wants, okay, we become more about His interest, man. The longer we're in the truth, man, the more we become about the interest, okay, of our Lord Yahweh Shah, man. You know, and it's gonna pay off forever. We're gonna be rewarded forever for that, man. Okay. So a lot of these things that tend to try to occupy our mind and keep us distracted and you know keep us feeling the nah, man. These things are finna be destroyed. These things are finna be a non-factor. A lot of these things are finna be a non-factor in the time to come. You know, so we should be in the spirit, all right, of discerning the time and making adjustments and constantly, all right, getting closer to our power as we get to the end of this thing, man. You know, so that was the point. Just wanted to get into that, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you few sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole flex. Shalom.